I think it was good for me to have to get right back on the field because I think over time I obviously have learned myself and how I function, and the longer I have to sit on something, the longer I'll think about it and this and that. And I think Coach Dicker helped because he did a great job. Like he took the blame immediately when I got to the sideline. Him and he was like, "No, we can't do that. It's my fault. We can't call that play." And I told him, I was like, "No, it's my fault. Like we can make it so simple, and kick the field goal right." But I think they all my team, like there's a clip on the TV copy. I was like smiling after the pick, like not because I'm happy. Like no, I wasn't happy, but I was like, come on, man. Like I was like, what are we doing? Because I know myself as a football player, and I know like each play is independent to the next, and I really play for the guys around me. So I knew after I messed that play up, I was like, okay, I don't have a choice but to make this happen, right? Like I was like, if we get 8 points right here, the pressure's on them. And then I was all worried about getting 8 points.
Welcome back to the Nick and Nigel Show. Once again on the Pac-12 Insider, Samsung TV Plus channel 2392 on your Samsung connected TVs and on Amazon Free search Nick and Nigel. Also on the Pac-12's YouTube page. And remember, Nick and Nigel is brought to you by Clotfelter's Pub, 1501 Northwest Monroe in Corvallis. It's the place to go before, during, and after the game. And our friends at MDI Management for exceptional luxury apartment living in Oregon's Mid-Willamette Valley. Coach, I know you're living exceptionally in the Mid-Willamette Valley after watching two unbelievable games. We got so much to talk about, man. My mind is just blown. We got John Mateer of the Cougs stopping by. We had the Beavs. We got more Pac-12 expansion, but we got to start off with maybe the game of the year. San Jose State at Washington State. Biggest question was, were you able to even stay up for this whole double overtime mess?
Well, yes. I mean, I made sure I stayed up. I'll tell you what, Nigel P. I had to stay up because I couldn't turn that thing off. Back and forth, back and forth. Washington State comes from behind. Mateer's doing his thing. He gets it in double overtime, hitting the pylon. That was a fantastic football game. That was a game that, following Washington, I actually thought, and then playing at home, I thought Washington State would do a lot better overall, winning that thing a little bit easier. But San Jose State's a pesky team. But Washington State pulled it off to be 4-0.
I'll tell you what, those guys are making plays down the stretch. That was not that ain't that's not your dad, your grandfather's San Jose State team. Like these dudes came in. I mean, the plays the guys were making on the sideline, the touchdown that even put them up at the end, where then all of a sudden, Mateer has to drive his team down. How about these stats, Coach? John Mateer, 26 of 46, 390 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. We're kind of used to that out of Washington State quarterbacks. You know what we're not used to? He then added another 18 carries for 111 yards and another touchdown. This dude was like Bo Jackson in Tecmo Bowl. I know that's your thing, right? It was Bo Jackson Tecmo Bowl back in the day? Like, right?
I used to be Bo Jackson. Well, let me tell you this right now, and I always lost to my son. John Mateer is the first quarterback in the history of Cougar football to throw for over 300 yards and rush for over 100 yards in the same game. Now think about that. And John Mateer has put 4 strong weeks together. The guy has just been incredible. I mean, I can't stop talking about John Mateer. John Mateer for Heisman is the next thing we're going to hear if he keeps this up.
You know what's crazy, Coach? If you look at stats right now in terms of quarterback play across the country, how about this? 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks, stat-wise, in the country were all at Washington State at the same time. John Mateer, Cam Ward, and Emmett Brown, who started for San Jose State, who's been putting up crazy numbers as well, were all on the same team. And obviously, we know what Cam's doing over in Miami. Emmett, we all witnessed it live and in Technicolor. And obviously, we've been talking about Mateer. And look, they've got a huge test on the road at Boise State on Saturday night. it's going to be a barn burner again. And this is a chance, once again, for Washington State. Boise State's ranked. We've seen how they played against Oregon on the road. They come out with a win. No chance they're not ranked in the top 25 coming out of Boise in that blue turf if they come out of that sucker with a win.
This is going to be, Nigel, the toughest test maybe for Washington State all year.
Good.
Boise is a very good football team. Boise at home is even equally better. Boise can run it, and they throw it well enough. And Boise has an outstanding running back, Ashton Genty. In Washington State, it's interesting. They hold Washington to under 25 points, but they give up over 30 to Portland State. I know a lot of that was garbage time, and over 40, 50 to San Jose State. So this is going to be a tough test for them. I really believe that. They get by this one, as you said, they definitely should be ranked. They get by this one, they got a chance to do some special things this year.
No question. Well, speaking of some special things, I know we're probably going to go over, and I don't really care because we got to talk about them Beavs, Coach. The Beavs, Big Ten team comes in. Now, look, we understand Purdue got taken behind the woodshed by Notre Dame. But they come into Corvallis, they felt like they were going to right the ship, and the Beavs took care of business wire to wire, beat Purdue 38-21, short of 2 drives. Keith Hayward's defense, how about this? They dominated. Purdue's quarterback, Card, had 4 completions by the start of the fourth quarter. 4. And 2 of them were screens. So, I mean, they also had 2 turnovers, and they were 2 of 9 on third down, and obviously the kick pick six, whatever the heck that was. They had that one. I mean, the defense dominated, and then Coach Ryan Gunderson, man, he is the way that he just formation Purdue to death, took advantage of that man defense, chasing guys around, fly sweeps, speed option, out of unbalance. I mean, it was magical to watch the way he called that game.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Gunderson and the Oregon State offense. They started to shift in motion a little bit more, particularly motion, and they knew that they knew that Purdue was in man coverage. And so against man coverage, a speed option to the weak side and the fly sweep or jet sweep are really tough plays. There's certain ways you got to play those plays, and we don't have time to get on it here. But I guarantee that you're going to stop that fly sweep or jet sweep. You better spin your safety.
Yeah.
Guy, so he's coming downhill, and the other guy replaced him in the deep middle.
Yeah.
But
Coach, Coach, talk about it, Coach. We got time to talk about it, Coach, because it made no sense to me. I'm like, look, if you're going to try to do all this man stuff versus a team that's running read zone and fly sweep, you can't keep that guy at 25 yards, flat foot and all that stuff. You got to rotate him down. They never did. And Gunny was like, shoot, if you ain't going to stop it, we're just going to keep doing it.
Absolutely. They had no adjustment to it. And it was a masterful adjustment by him because it happened particularly more in the second half with the fly sweep and the speed option. 2 great plays against man free, and unless you do certain things. Now, the other thing, Keith Hayward in the defense, I'll tell you what, whenever I used to get whenever our team got a touchdown on defense, man, that made my day. They're hard to come by. You can get some turnovers, but when you get a tug on D, that really fires me up. That's like a cherry on top of the strawberry sundae.
I love it, Coach. Hey, the defense was outscoring Purdue until those last 2 drives that they had to just kind of keep it close. But again, great performance by the Beavs. They get a week off before taking on Colorado State, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday at home. So, hey, Coach, once again, we got a great show. We got our guy, John Mateer, is going to stop by. We can ask him about his unbelievable game against San Jose State and getting ready to go on to the blue turf. And then you want to stick around because we got more Pac-12 expansion. I'm loving it. Who's up next? And a little bit of inside information on how all this stuff kind of shook out. You don't want to miss it. Stick around. Nick and Nigel coming up. Well, welcome back to the Nick and Nigel Show once again on Samsung TV Plus channel 2392. Cannot wait to get our next guest with us. The man who's now becoming the myth and the legend, John Mateer, joins us on Nick and Nigel. Johnny, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. You?
Oh man, we are fantastic. Looking forward to talking. By the way, we were talking a little bit about class. You got 4 classes tomorrow?
Yeah, I do. I do. It's okay. None today. None today.
No
None today.
classes Tuesdays and Thursdays, but 4 classes on Monday, Wednesday. You got them on Friday too?
Yeah, but I kind of scheduled it out so that like I won't go this Friday because we travel. So
Hey,
kind of.
now, hey, Nick, I don't know if we got to tell him now. Here's the problem: the way he's playing, he can't be like skipping class because it's not like they're not gonna notice that.
Right, right, right. No, I
I
realized
No,
that.
no more incognito for you. Hey, John, I got to ask you this question, and I got a ton of questions, but this is the first one. Who recruited you out of high school?
Uh, First, really not many people, but here
No, I
is
want to know who recruited you. No, what schools?
before my senior year, there's a bunch of FCS schools like I was committed to Central Arkansas, Incarnate Word, Stephen F. Austin, like Fordham. There's a bunch. They're all on my Twitter. Like if you go to my media, you scroll down if you really want to know. And then after my senior year is New Mexico State in here.
The only reason I asked that, John, is because somebody saw something in you and they were very, very intelligent to recruit you to Washington State. Because let me tell you, young man, you could play anywhere in the country.
I appreciate that.
You got no, I'm thoroughly impressed by you, John. I'm not because you're here, because I tell you, it worth a damn if you were here, but because you're here, because I've watched you play, you've been unbelievable. Now, 4 starts, and every start, it's a wow. Every start, it's a wow. What makes it a wow?
I think, you know, I appreciate that. Thank you, first of all. It's awesome that I get to hear that this soon into my college career. But I think the coaches and the players giving me the opportunity to put, my abilities on like show them and show everybody what I can do. And I think I don't know. It's just I just go out there and play ball. I think they let me play free, and Coach Dicker tells me every week, he says play your type of football, and I think we're still figuring out what that is. But I like to mix it up every time I get and throw it in one play, run it the next play. I just think it's fun. I'm having a good time.
You look like you're having a good time. And I'm
I-
sorry, Nigel. Well, don't stop what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Don't stop what you're doing, because if you continue to do this, and it's early, everybody in the country, if they don't already, is going to know about John Mateer. Everybody.
Thank
Okay?
you.
So
Yes,
you
sir.
keep doing what you're doing. Stay confident. Don't get cocky.
Right.
Treat people good on campus. Don't act like you're too big, and continue to play the way you're playing. And I'll continue to be a John Mateer fan.
Sir, thank you.
He already ordered his jersey. It's already coming. It's he got the
Oh,
tech
yeah?
on the whole deal. So, hey, I got to ask you about this game this past weekend because that was wild. I had the game called with the Purdue Oregon State game with Ryan Leaf, and Ryan's like, man, I was on East Coast time and I stayed up for every second of that thing. Same with me, man.
Yeah.
Was that the craziest game you've ever been a part of?
I think overall, yeah, and how it ended in overtime, interception, and then 2 point, and then the fumble. Like, yeah, I think overall, yes. Now, going into the fourth quarter, and we were down 14, there was a game of high school that reminded me of that, where we came back and we won. So that's really like, I was like, oh, I've been here before, but when you look holistically at the whole game, I don't think anybody's been in that type of game before.
Oh, I like that holistically. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I love diving into the mind. Like when Coach and I used to coach, he was at Oregon, I was at Oregon State. And, my biggest thing is I wanted to get in the minds of the student athletes, man. I want to know like what makes you tick, what made you. And so I keep thinking, get the game, goes to overtime, huge kick, first series, they throw a pick, right? And everybody's like, look, all you got to do is kick a field goal. And then you throw a pick. Now, I don't want to take you back to this bad place, but I'm curious, what did what Jedi mind trick did you give yourself? Like, what was the self-talk that you had? Because you had to go right back out on the field for the second overtime. I think people underestimate the amount of what happens here in those moments. What did you tell yourself, or what did somebody say something to you that made you kind of have that confidence come right back, be that gunslinger, and lead them to a victory?
I think it was good for me to have to get right back on the field because I think over time I obviously have learned myself and how I function, and the longer I have to sit on something, the longer I'll think about it and this and that. And I think Coach Dicker helped because he did a great job. Like he took the blame immediately when I got to the sideline. Him and he was like, "No, we can't do that. It's my fault. We can't call that play." And I told him, I was like, "No, it's my fault. Like we can make it so simple, and kick the field goal right." But I think they all my team, like there's a clip on the TV copy. I was like smiling after the pick, like not because I'm happy. Like no, I wasn't happy, but I was like, come on, man. Like I was like, what are we doing? Because I know myself as a football player, and I know like each play is independent to the next, and I really play for the guys around me. So I knew after I messed that play up, I was like, okay, I don't have a choice but to make this happen, right? Like I was like, if we get 8 points right here, the pressure's on them. And then I was all worried about getting 8 points.
Yep.
And then we did. So
John, you made it happen. You made it happen. Okay. But you needed a field goal at the end of that game, overtime, first overtime to win.
I know.
You got to be smarter than that.
No, I agree. And that, I figure out here and there, like I'm still a little young, like I'm progressing well. And I think some of the things I'm doing well, but like, there's situations where like I still have to learn things, and I thought I could make the throw. Thought I could fit it in, but you just don't even need to test it in that moment.
You're exactly right. And I tell you what, John, it doesn't change how I feel about you. I'm just going to keep it real. I think you are playing as well as anybody in the country at quarterback. So keep it up.
Yes, sir.
Be smart.
Yeah, I will. It'll just get better.
Hey, John, I got, it's interesting because we were talking about, the interception, the conversations you had, and sometimes you said you hang on to things. And one of the conversations we have with Coach Dicker and other coaches in the country are how technology now has changed the college game. And you guys are able to now come to the sideline and see the things you're doing well and the things you're not doing well on video, almost reliving the whole thing. You got the green dot now, guys in here. I'm just curious, how do you like the technology first? And, are those things that are helping you, or are you kind of like, hey, I need to see a little bit of this, but I don't need to see too much?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm definitely not I don't want to sit there and think about every little thing because then I'll start overthinking. But I do like it. Like any questions you need to ask when you're coming off the field, you can see it. You don't have to ask, oh, what coverage were they in? You can see it, see exactly where they were and pre-snap alignments and everything. It's great. I think it's helped me a lot, especially in the tech game. They started dropping 8. And I was like, man, like why is nobody open? And I see it, and I'm like, oh, I mean, well, they're dropping everybody in coverage, And I think
the opportunity to
right, yeah, right. We figured that out, and I think that was the first time anybody realized I could do that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
Well,
hey, John.
Well,
hey, John, in last year, you got some part-time play.
Sir.
They didn't let you throw the ball, or you didn't throw the ball very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching John Mateer, and you throw a pretty intermediate pass. I mean, it's got some zing. It's pretty. So did you get – well, obviously, we worked to get better, but can you throw like that last year?
I think my goal from last year, because there was a couple days like the ball would just come out really well. My goal from last year, and I told myself in practice, I was like, I want my best this year, as in last year, to be my worst day this year. Like just a year of progress. Now, yeah, could I throw last year? Yes. Yes, I could. But it's better. It's definitely way better this year.
Oh, it's pretty. I'll tell you what. John Mateer for president, baby.
Well, John, I know we got to let you go, but I tell you something else. Hey, Nick has hit the nail on the head, man. Right now, you're playing some of the best quarterback play in the entire country. He loves your intermediate ball, but I'm gonna tell you right now, for me, it's the hair. It's got to be the hair. Sam Hartman, college football is locked down. Now, here's the most important question of this entire interview. We got to get you an NIL deal, man. What is the product We got to know the product so we can start pushing that thing.
Oh, I don't know the brand. It's just it's coconut curls. I just used it to my locker. I don't know like the brand, but I could look it up.
Hey, we got next time we have you on Nick and Nigel, we gotta have the bottle so we can have the NIL deal. You know what I'm saying? And Nick is going to be your agent. He's a 5% guy. You don't even have to give him
Okay.
10. 5%.
Right.
All you need. So I can't do nothing about the hair product. But
Yeah,
hey,
right.
love having you on, man. We appreciate
Sure.
it. We hope to have you on again. But dude, we obviously are super impressed, man. Always rooting for you, man. And thank you again for stopping by, Nick and Nigel.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks, John. All the best this weekend, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, stick around. Nick and Nigel coming up next. Well, welcome back to the last segment of Nick and Nigel. Once again, brought to you by Claude Felcher's Pub at 1501 Northwest Monroe in Corvallis, the place to go. It is the place to go, coach, and you know it in Corvallis before, during, and after the game. And our friends at MDI Management for luxury apartment living in the Mid-Willamette Valley. Hey, don't forget now, you can always find us on Samsung TV Plus channel 2392, Samsung Connected TVs, Amazon Freevee, and you can also just search for us on Pac-12's YouTube channel. Look for Nick and Nigel. Coach, we got more Pac-12 expansion news on the ticker. Boom, 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 boom. Utah State now, also from the Mountain West, will be joining, giving us 7 teams in the 2026 season. Coach, when you saw the news, just curious what your thoughts were adding the Aggies to the Pac-12.
I think this is very exciting because it obviously looks like, Nigel, that the Pac-12 is going to save their league, so to speak, which I think is fantastic. And that means you and I might get more work at Jenna, which is also fantastic. And it means a lot of fun things. We might see Schmelsby. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could be good. The other thing I'm very curious about, because we miss Schmelsby, the other thing I'm really curious about is this. When you announce, you do a great job announcing all the, and I'm not trying to get away from the expansion, but you do a great job of announcing all, where they can find us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But unless they're watching this show, how do they know where to find us?
Well, that's the beauty of the intranet, coach. We put it on the intranet, and some people might just catch the one clip on the intranet, and they're like, oh, how do I see the whole thing? Oh, I go to my Samsung TV 2392, or I just search on the YouTube, and we're good. So that's why we do it like that. Yeah. That's
magic, just like a thermos.
Hey, look, all I know is this. Getting back to the expansion, here's something that I kind of figured out. You tell me what you think. So obviously the Pac-12 last week or 2 weeks ago now announced adding those 4 teams, right? Fresno State, San Diego State, Boise State, and Colorado State. And I think in the end, and this is just my guess, that from there they kind of wanted to take their time and like, okay, let's see kind of how things shake out with some of the other conferences and da-da-da. The problem became, and it started with the ACC. So obviously people were like, hey, what's going to happen with Stanford and Cal? Because they can't love this travel that they're doing. And I'll be honest with you, I already see the complaints from Miami fans complaining about the fact that the game at Cal this week coming up starts at 10:30 Eastern. So nobody's in love with this situation, right?
Right.
So what does the ACC do, though? Because they're worried about losing Florida State and Clemson. They say, hey, what if we give you guys a little extra money with some tiered money and things like that? We'll give you extra because you're the football driver of this thing. We'll do the same with basketball with Duke and North Carolina to try to end that lawsuit. Well, then what does the Mountain West do when they see 4 defections of their biggest teams in the Mountain West? They kind of do the same thing with UNLV. Hey, I think the number that I saw was $10 million to stick around. So to me, that's what then expedited everything. Like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. We can't take our time anymore because now all these guys are circling the wagons, coach. And so it's kind of just a game of chess and who can blink first.
Nigel, you got this thing dialed in. If I was Stanford and Cal, I hope I could say this, I would definitely find a way to come back to the Pac-12. I really would. I don't know what the buyout or the contract or any of that is. I'm not in the know that way. You'd think I'd be more informed, but
Well,
I think if I was
that's why you got me, baby. That's why you got me. So
good, because I need you.
so
But
they're
if I was
locked in.
yeah,
There's no getting out of it. They're locked in until 2036, unless obviously the conference collapses. The conference has all these renegotiations for TV contracts and all that stuff. And what they're trying to do, now, as far as I know, it hasn't been agreed to at this moment that we're taping the show right now. But they've said, hey, how about this? Clemson, Florida State, we'll push up the timetable. Instead of 2036, we'll push up the timetable and we'll say, hey, all bets are off in 2030. And we'll give you extra money if you'll at least stick around till then. And so that now has, it's kind of in play as do Florida State and Clemson pull out of this, pull out of their lawsuits because they're trying to get out ASAP because they're trying to look at other options. If that were to happen and say everybody says, all right, we're going to stick around until 2030, my assumption is, and I'm with you, I'm assuming, is now that moves Stanford and Cal's timetable to decide if they want to do something different up from 2036 to 2030. So that's kind of how everything's kind of shaken out right now. And all it takes is some judge in Florida to be like, you know what? Nah, we're good. And have Florida State and Clemson get out of their current deal and all bets are off and pandemonium can start. So as I explained to some people, as I've talked to different groups, a lot of this is not being decided by athletic directors or commissioners. It's being decided by judges and lawyers. So we'll see how everything kind of shakes out here in the next, I'm assuming next couple of weeks, let alone months.
This thing's crazy. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's crazy. And again, Teresa Gould doing a great job trying to get this thing going. The only thing I would be guarded against, and I won't, is to me, the Pac-12, I want it to be quality teams. I want it to be quality teams so that the league is looked upon as a very strong Power 5 league. So how you get that done, I know the first thing is to save the league, but then secondly, I hope it's quality teams so that we have a strong Pac-12 because that's where you and I grew up on, and I just hope that happens.
Yeah, well, Coach, again, like we already talked about, if you were to do power rankings of conferences as the current iterations and the expanded now Pac-12 up to 7 teams, it would actually be rated power ranking wise ahead of the ACC in football. So just like you want quality teams. And, let's be honest too, so much of this stuff is cyclical. I remember when I was coaching the University of Nevada, UNLV was terrible. Like you didn't want to touch UNLV with a 10-foot pole. Now all of a sudden, Barry Odom and those guys get in there and now they're winning ball games. Now Nevada is struggling, right? And before we were the class of the conference putting out first, second rounders, quarterbacks playing in Super Bowls and all those things. So, all this stuff can kind of move and shake, but I'm absolutely with you, Coach. You want to see quality, you want to see great sports, and we want to see those West Coast teams staying together. So, hey, speaking of staying together, I'm always happy that I'm staying together with you, Coach. Can't wait to see this weekend's games. Again, we've got the Beavs. They're hanging out for the weekend, chilling. Washington State with the huge showdown at Boise. Can't wait to talk to you about it next week, Coach, on Nick and Nigel, man. I'll see you soon, Coach.
Yeah, I love it, Nigel. We could always beat BYE.
Yeah, got it. We're going to be undefeated this week, Coach. Undefeated.